I guess some organizations are finally learning how long they can keep lying to people before people quit trusting them. Because everyone has a breaking point for that. And it looks like the normies have finally hit theirs in Straya. Auntie's Fortnite from Hell. Trust in the ABC creators as broadcaster distorts truth on Cole Orange Man for the greater good. Once they literally start admitting to making up lies and then try to justify it with, but it was just like little white lies for the greater good. Nope, out. You're gone. The ABC clearly thinks it's fine to mislead the public if it fits their regressive agenda, judging by the broadcaster's reaction to repeated claims of editorial bias in recent days. That should be concerning. The organizations that a lot of people foolishly trust to report the news and give them the truth are pretty much admitting, like, yeah, we make shit up and lie every once in a while, but it's for the greater good, so it's okay. And when I was a kid, my morning alarm was Majestic Fanfare, the unmistakable jingle that singled the ABC News Bulletin of ABC 720 radio. Why would you admit to that? You know the one at 7 p.m. We'd all watch the Channel 2 evening news on the telly. Oh, is this also before color was invented, when everything was black and white? Those were weird days. Like growing up in a regional, I guess that's West Straya, the 80s, 90s, the ABC was a lifeline to the outside world. Now, this was true before the days of the internet. If you lived out in the boonies, about the only regular info you got about the outside world, it was either the radio or the TV. What was said on the ABC was trusted, presumed fair, presumed balance. Yeah. And that's why all of these companies hate the internet, because the internet proved this was a lie. Every time these corpos try to lie, some rando with a camera posts the truth within minutes. And they just keep getting more and more egg on their face. They keep getting caught in more lies. Like, boy, times have changed. Hot take, I think the media always lied. What changed was our ability to catch them lying, to catch them in the act, which is a major change, but still. In recent years, the ABC has become a repeat offender on the field of editorial bias. One of the most egregious examples of which sticks in my mind was the addition of extra gunshot sounds to a helmet cam video in a report on former Australian commando Heston Russell. It was unforgivable. We've had a few instances of that here in the U.S. too, where the fake news media deceptively edited recordings. That's so unforgivable. In fact, the ABC even copped a spray from Media Watch. This week, the ABC is again under fire, this time for editing footage of Orange Man's January 6th speech. Yeah, Airstrip 1 did the same thing. Similar allegations saw the Big Black Cock's new CEO and Director General both resign in disgrace. The ABC, however, issued a tortured defense. Apparently, it's fine to cut a few sentences from one part of the speech. It's only problematic if you splice together sections that were, in BBC's case, 54 minutes apart. What the BBC did was clearly misleading. Yeah, this is called lying by omission, where you can technically flip the story on its head by leaving out certain bits of information. Like let's say you got a story about one guy beating the shit out of another guy, but the guy who got the shit beat out of him provoked the entire thing and started it and just happened to lose. But the media leaves that part out and just spins the guy who whooped him as the aggressor. They don't even have to come out and say it that way. They could just leave out the information that the other guy started it. The media lies by omission all the time, and they're damn well going to defend that. But the ABC's refusal to acknowledge that its own edit removed context that materially altered the tone of the speech is telling. And once again, this is what the internet's for. Like on the internet, there's already multiple videos of the side by side what the actual unedited speech was and what the lying fake news media cut it into. It's as though the virtue of opposing Orange Man grants ABC editorial immunity, a free pass to distort the greater good. Yeah, the way they are, like they will. There's no low they won't stoop to get at Orange Man. If it were an isolated incident, you might chuck it up to oversight, but it's not. Yeah, it's systemic at the. It's like the whole rogue employee excuse. You can only use the rogue employee excuse once before it becomes obvious that you're encouraging that environment. If all the rogue employees are still there, no, they're not rogue employees. Because just last week, the National Party released their energy policy backed by research from the Page Research Center. On ABC's 7:30 program, the modeling was attributed to Cole Straya. The first problem, the analysts drew from a wide range of sources, including Cicero, CIS, AMO, and the Australian Energy Regulator, ABS, DCCEEW, Net Zero Straya, okay, a bunch of these organizations. I guess they're trying to do an appeal to authority there. None of these individual sources were disclosed to the viewers. The second problem, the Page Research Center advised the ABC of this before the program aired, yet despite the clarification, the ABC stated the false claim during the program. So they knew ahead of time this is going to be big if they could prove it. That's what's going to spin the whole story. Days later, they quietly added an editor's note to the website to clarify the additional sources. By then, the horse had long since bolted. Yeah, well, when they need to issue a redaction, it needs to be in the same time slot for the same amount of time as the initial accusation came in. Why don't we have that yet? Viewers are unlikely to be trawling the ABC's website for corrections or left with the misleading impression that the modeling came from Cole Straya, implying that it was incomplete, subjective, and otherwise compromised. If it came from one of the biased sources they liked, though, they'd be like, oh, yeah, this is clearly legit. State and federal governments continue to spend billions of taxpayer dollars on energy transition. Electricity bills continue to rise despite promises that renewable energy is cheaper. Australians have a right to expect the national broadcaster will interrogate energy policies with across the board so viewers can digest impartial reporting and formulate their own views. Spoiler alert, that's not what happens. Nope, they got an agenda to push. I brought up that old communist coworker I used to have. He was so brainwashed, he couldn't even see the bias on his side. According to him, like there were no left-wing news sources. It was Fox News on the far right, and everyone else was moderate. So Fox News was the only problem. They had the only bias, so they have to be dealt with. That's how stupid these people are. How can we have open, factual discussion about energy policy when relevant facts are deliberately withheld or misleadingly put? Well, we can't. As the Liberal Party debates its energy policy position this week, seeking to distinguish itself from the Albanese Labour government, I have little confidence ABC can report outside its ideological paddle pool. It's unacceptable when Straya is at a crossroads. Electricity prices are surging, industry is shrinking or moving offshore, families are struggling to pay their bills, the reliability is faltering, and we are staring into the abyss of national security self-harm. Historically, this is when the ABC should shine. If they were actually doing their job, they would be. But instead, they are actually propaganda mouthpieces now. It should have journalistic and editorial standards that are unimpeachable. It should, but it doesn't. Instead, we're left wondering how it got this bad, how much worse it'll get, and how long we're expected to fund this ideological gaslighting behemoth. It's going to stop once the population has had enough. I mean, look at what's happening in Japan. The annual digital news report, the Straya bears scars of this erosion. Since current D-4, the trust of the ABC has dropped from 70% to 60%, with a 4% fall in just the last 12 months. I'm surprised they still have that many people trust these liars. Should be 6%, not 60%. But it's only one survey, yes, but the trend is undeniable. Viewers are increasingly believing their eyes rather than uncritically accepting the ABC's narrative. There are some people out there that are dumb enough that they, even when their eyes say otherwise, they still choose to believe the lies. And it's only fair to ask whether Australians are being poorly served and whether taxpayers are getting value for the money. Oh, obviously not. But what are they going to do about it? Given the local absence of leadership from the political class vis-a-vis the ABC, we can only expect this decline to continue, and as we trust less, believe less, and pay more for an institution of a bygone era, increasingly devoid of purpose. Yeah, they are kind of useless now. Only real and direct accountability can bring them, the unruly collective within the ABC, to rights. So who's going to make the first move? I'd like to hear that this is about the same as Straya reaching net zero by current year plus 25. I actually agree with that statement. Both of those are equally likely.